Hey everybody, movie reviewer next door here, and I'm back with another review. This time, I saw Sheroes. Yeah, I know, groan-inducing title. This is a 2023 action comedy directed by Jordan Gertner, and it stars Sasha Luss, Wallace Day, Isabel Furman, Sky Jackson, and Jack Kessie. In this film, when four thick as thieves friends arrive in Thailand, they quickly find themselves in over their heads. Fighting to stay alive, they employ their unique set of skills and unleash their fierce loyalty in a heart-pumping battle for survival. So, what did I think of Sheroes? Well, two main reasons I watched this. One, I like to give movies with super low IMDb scores a chance, and this has a 3.4 out of 10 currently, and it stars Sasha Luss. Now, while I didn't hate the film nearly as much as a lot of other people do, I can really understand people not enjoying it. There are a lot of issues with this. And even if the second half does kind of redeem a lot of issues, given that the action is well shot, excuse me, and there's some inventive action sequences that are like fun, um, it's still just barely decent. But yeah, let me get to the cast. Sasha Luss plays Diamond. She's kind of the leader of this pack. She apparently knows how the cartels work because she watched her dad's movies, and I gotta say that was dumb. Uh, but Sasha Luss is an actress that I know from films like Anna, which I thought was a really damn good action film with an interesting main character, interesting motivations, and yeah, the action scenes are very well done. And Sasha Luss, as her first starring role, did a pretty good job. And this film, which I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but it was fine. She's barely in it. But I like her, and I was hoping this would be, oh, another kick ass role for her. And while she does do some action in this film, she doesn't do a ton. It's a bit more on Wallace Day, who plays Ryder, who's kind of the tough chick of the group. She's also a lesbian. There's two lesbians in this group. Yippee. Um, but I've never seen this actress before. She was fine. Sorry if I look tired. I only got 4 hours of sleep. Um, she's fine. Nothing about her performance really pissed me off. Um, Sorry about that. Um, but yeah, she had some fun fight scenes, even if I don't really buy her taking down this big dude. Um, Isabel Furman plays Ezra. She's an actress. She's kind of pampered, and um, she doesn't get a ton to do. She has a fun scene of her strip teasing a like cocaine smuggler in order to just tease him because she's not gonna do anything. She was just doing it to fuck with him. And while that scene was hot, she doesn't really get to do much. Same with Sky Jackson as Daisy. She's the friend of the group that gets kidnapped, so they really don't give her much to do. Um, and Jack Kessie is Jasper, this mysterious guy that flew their plane, may or may not have something to do with the kidnapping. But all in all, this film, it's it's one of those that starts out with really, really unlikable characters right off the bat. Because all four of these bitches just yap and yap and yap about, oh, look, we're going to have a Hollywood vacation. We're going to get together. This is fucked. This is so fucked. You get introductions to each of them saying, this is so fucked, working their day jobs or doing stuff. And I swear when Sasha Luss says it, I was like, is that her voice? It sounds like she's dubbed. I don't know if she is dubbed, but it really did sound like it. Um, but yeah, I'm not too sure on that, but sounded like it. But what holds me back from, again, loving this film, the dialogue is not well done. Now, I have to look at who the writer is. I don't usually get this much into the writing. Okay, director wrote it. Excuse me. The director wrote it. Makes sense. I'll be the first to say the direction is not bad in this film. The film looks good enough. Yeah, there are moments where it kind of just feels like the actors are just like, oh, partying, and the camera's just kind of following them, and there's not a lot of like different angles. But for the most part, the film seems well enough made. It's pretty looking. The effects during the action scenes don't take me out of it. If anything, quite a few of them look pretty practical. This is not a 3.4 out of 10 movie. This is maybe like on average, a 4.5 to 5. Because I can see it more there, and I don't really see what's so awfully terrible. Like, this has the same ratings as, like, Codename Banshee, which I also I'd rather watch that because I cared more about the main character, but it has the same ratings as like a bunch of these super lower totem pole direct to video films that I really don't see why. Other than the main characters, because there's a ton of people on IMDb that will just not finish the movie and then review it anyway, which I think is kind of a shitty thing to do because you're not reviewing the movie, you're reviewing the small part that you watched. Literally people that'll say like I got 15 minutes in and I stopped watching and I'm like what the fuck did you expect to gain from watching the first 15 minutes of an hour and a half movie? You're going to miss like literally most of it. I think that's pretty selfish, but yeah, Sasha Luss doesn't really get to flex her acting chops here. She has some action scenes later on which are well done. Same with Wallace Day. Isabel Furman doesn't really get in on much of the action. She's more of the sniper position. She doesn't really get to do too much there. And the most Sky Jackson does at the end is fire an not an RPG, but some kind of explosive device and explode a car. Which, again, I've got to give props where they're due. The stunts are well done. Um, I don't know how much of them are done by the actors in the film, or if they're just stunt doubles, but for the most part, these stunts are well done. And the action is well shot and all that. But um, my second issue with this film, it takes a bit too long to get into the action, and it definitely could have used an extra action scene. And at the end, there's a bit where there's a bunch of trucks full of like soldiers following after the girls, and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna have like a nice like kind of Mad Maxy type shooting from the cars fight and more explosions, and you really don't get that. You get like one explosion and that's about it. Um Another issue, the this is kind of a girl boss movie, I guess. The reason I'm not so mad at it as I think I would be normally is because this film doesn't take itself seriously at all. At all. There's like one moment where they get a video call from the bad guy that has their friend hostage and something involving spiders, and that's about it for the seriousness because it kind of more becomes a farce in a way. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it does they do try to go at it in a more lighthearted way, and it was a bit refreshing. I just wish the writing for a lot of these characters and the comedy was a lot better. The comedy wasn't so bad that it made me cringe the entire time, but there are some really, really, really forced lines. especially at the end when they have to shoehorn in the title of the movie where they're like, the guy's like, to heroes, and she's like, nah, fuck that, to Sheroes. And I can't do Sasha Lissa's accent, but it just felt so forced, and I really didn't like that. But to the good, the musical score of the film is good. I actually did quite enjoy it. Um, can't think of who did it at this moment. Skid Robot. Sorry, I gotta stretch. Skid Robot. I know my eyes look lazy. Um, they did a good job performing the score. It's kind of 80, not 80s. It's synthy. It's not 80s, but it's good enough. Again, the action, there's some action scenes near the end that are well done. There's some nice kind of heist elements where they end up stealing a guy to use as leverage against the drug dealers or the kingpins. Um, and yeah, there are elements here that there's actually a pretty fun foot chase or motorcycle into foot chase with Wallace Day. And it wouldn't surprise me if Wallace Day ends up working more as a stunt woman because her acting is fine for the most part. The acting in this film doesn't really make me mad or anything. Even the lesbian thing, it's just kind of a blink and you miss it thing with between Ryder and Daisy, Wallace Day and Sky Jackson. Sky Jackson, people would probably remember as Zuri from Jesse. Um, and other than like a scene where they're kissing, you don't really get much of it, which is fine. I'm better off with that than if they made it a big part of the movie. But I don't exactly like yeah, I don't hate this movie, but I can understand why people would not be into this because I am I guess a bit more tolerant of certain things as in like what certain movies like to do, but I if a movie was painful to sit through, I would tell y'all. I'm not going to suffer through a movie and then be like, "Oh yeah, that was a great movie." And yes, this isn't a great movie. It's really stupid, to be perfectly honest. It makes a lot of things that the characters do make literally no sense, where they'll be like, oh, yeah, we're doing it our way because we want to do it our way. It's not really because girl power, it's more so just they're afraid other people will fuck it up because they don't know exactly what they're getting into or whatever. But yeah, it's serviceable entertainment. There are other movies that you could watch if you're looking for an action movie starring Sasha List, then watch Anna. The restaurant fight scene is possibly one of the best fight scenes I have seen in the past decade, maybe. Um, it's up there with the John Wick movies in that sequence. Even the later sequence is really good, but yeah, it's definitely worth a watch, especially if you're into movies like Leon the Professional, La Femme Nikita. It is kind of the La Femme Nikita story done again, but still, it's worth it to watch. But yeah, not much else I can say about this. If this seems like your thing, you'll probably be into it. There is a nice scene of Isabel Furman doing a striptease, which, gotta admit, it was hot. I think she's cute. But yeah, that was my review of Sheroes. If you've seen the film, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any recommendations, put those in the comments as well. And movie reviewer next door out.